because okay, there I can see my item description, obviously, and my extended description. And one of the things about this system is it's multilingual. Okay, so because it's also linked to the e-commerce site. So on the e-commerce site, if you said I wanted to see the site in French or German or whatever it is, you can specify the languages that you actually want to use. Okay, so we've only specified the UK and the US, which are going to be almost the same anyway, but you specify what selling languages down here you want to see. So for example, there's the UK. Okay, so if I now go to the US and change this and put US on the end of here and say OK, when I look at the United Kingdom one, it won't have that on there. So what we can do is we can have separate data and descriptions, yeah, for each particular type of language. If I clicked apply to all descriptions and I change this and said OK, oops, hang on, tick that perhaps. Let's see, OK. And then when I go to look at the US one, it'll be the same because I've ticked that. OK. All right, so in setup now, there's that sales tax option we just discussed when we were going through the wizard. Commodity code that'll default in when we're doing the intrastat. Is it commissionable? Landed costs is going to be is in the advanced system. Yeah, the fields are here, but essentially they don't do anything in this in the standard version. Default lead time, obviously, which is a default lead time, but when we look at the actual suppliers, that's when we can actually see individual supplier lead times. If I could tick that box there for drop ship, and then I did a sales order for this item, when I actually do the sales order item line, it would automatically put in that we usually drop ship this item, and then someone would have to untick it if they wanted to sell it from stock. Okay, we have categories, we have departments, we have accessory items and substitute items, and there's our units of measure. Okay, so on the costing front, this is our suppliers that we picked in the wizard, and again where we can drill down and actually specify different cost prices per unit of measure if we wanted to, because it may be that we buy a better rate for cases than we do each, let's say. Pricing, this is the selling prices, setup, warehouses, and an item ledger. This tells me all the ins and outs that are going on, and we have a web option. Okay, so this is all to do with e-commerce, and if you click show on web, the next time you refresh your web page, it will automatically be there. This system's totally integrated. It's one database, one look and feel, one business logic. So you set up your item here, you tick that, you refresh your web page, it's there. There's no synchronization between the two, it's there. Okay, so you can see that this is all to do with the setup of keywords, page titles, what summaries, information do you want, and you've got a full HTML editor here, so you can type in normal type, then say OK and save it, and that's what the description that'll appear on the website. Okay, so you can see images, Okay. One nice feature about this is sometimes people get their stock codes wrong, okay, or they want to change them. So we have an option here to rename the actual item code. So that will go across all the data, all the database. Okay, so let's save and close. All right, so that was a new stock item. Okay, so let's quickly move to kind of creating a new item matrix. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this exe. Actually, I'll let the system generate it, and I'll call this example T-shirt. Okay, so I'll say next. Everything's the same apart from when we get to this bit here. Okay, so what it's saying is what's the prefix? So I'm going to call this T-shirt. Okay, and then what it's going to say is what attributes do you want to use? Okay, well I want to use color and size, and obviously these are user definable, so you just specify as many as you want and whatever attributes in each one you want. So the next thing it's going to say is for color, which colors do you want? And obviously these are all user definable as well, but I put red, white and blue in. So I'll say OK. And what sizes would you like to use in the matrix? So I'm going to say, well, I want them all. Okay. Then what it does is it multiplies them all together and comes up with all the combinations. So you can see that you've got blue, large, blue, medium, blue, small, blue, extra large. The same with red and same with white. And obviously if I say next, it says what costing method do you want to run on these? Do you want any start off, average cost, standard cost or last cost, and your pricing. So I'm going to say finish, and what it'll do is it'll generate the matrix group here. And when I say save, it will generate all the individual stock items that make it up. So you can see I've got an extra tab here for item matrix, and this is all the attributes that I've picked. I can add new ones to it if I want to, and the items. I can generate new ones if I wanted to. Okay, so that's a matrix type item. So let's create another one, and let's do a kit. Okay, so this kit we're going to call example kit. Okay. Okay, so the difference now is that some of the tabs have disappeared, but we have a tab for kit details, and we decide whether we price this by kit or the items, individual items, and obviously what currency this relates to. So I'm going to do a computer. Okay, this kit's a computer, let's say. So I'm going to say, right, I'm going to call this motherboard. Okay, this is where I put the description. So when people are actually kind of selling these or looking at these, and it says, on the kit configurator, what's the question you want to prompt the user with? So I'm going to say, what motherboard? Okay. I can put an image there as well when I'm actually in the configurator. So if I click on this, I can say, right, well, let's have opportunity. Now, if your images are too big, it will resize them for you. So I'll say yes, and it will resize it. Okay. You can also decide whether it's required, optional, or multi-select. So, for example, you may have 5 items here, yeah, that are options of motherboards, and if I say it's required, then you've got to have picked one of them. If it's optional, you don't have to pick any of them. If it's multi-select, maybe you've got software as an option, which is kind of Office or Enterprise Suite or whatever it might be, and you could tick three out of 3. Yeah, or you could pick none of them. Okay, so I say this is required, and this is where I pick some items. Ignore what I'm picking, but essentially these would be the motherboards options. Okay, and I have to pick a default, and these are the sale prices that are pulled in from the actual record. So at this moment in time, when I look at the configurator, it would just show they're all the same price. I'm going to change that one to 10. And I'm going to change that one to 20. So when I look at it in the configurator, it will say that one's less £20, that one's less £10. Yeah, and that one's my a default one. Okay, pricing type. Okay, just coming back to the pricing type for a minute. If I said kit price, what happens is the kit price is made up of the items. Okay, so you could say, right, the kit price of this is 100, and it automatically goes over the individual items and sort of distributes that £100 across it. If I go item price, what will happen is it'll put on the actual invoice, yeah, it'll put the individual items that make up this kit with the prices on them. It's just an option. A lot of people do kit prices. They sell a kit for a price, but it's made up of obviously the items and the individual items from a sales point of view. So you can see that I've only got one item on this kit at the moment, and that is 100% of the cost. Okay, now if I add a new item, okay, let's say RAM. Okay, so what RAM? Careful how you spell that. What RAM? Okay, and obviously these are all the RAM options. Ignore what I'm picking. And I say that's the default. Now, if I save that, what you'll see is that it's changed that to 50. Okay, because between that item and this item, the cost is made up of 50% in RAM and 50% in the motherboard. Okay, so essentially it's £30 each.